Round number 6 of RCI's Multi-Sprint Championship here from Algarve International Circuit in Portimao in Portugal. Welcome everyone in to Autodromo Internacional Algarve, where it is a very nice 24 degrees C with the weather absolutely cooperating. Middle part of the championship, a lot still to play for both categories on offer. I'm Jesse Lee, joined by Ted Edwards, who will be doing double duty today, broadcasting and commentating alongside me. A special welcome into everyone watching at home. Continuing coverage of the multi-sprint series, brought to you by our partners. Well, qualifying underway already. The first 5 minutes have gone. The first laps have gone in the books for the LMGT3s. Martin Lawrence returning to form early. Van Perez in second place. Imoplata third. Joe Dauber fourth. Christopher Strepa rounding out your top five now. Several cars leaving the pit lane late. Ted Edwards, I'll bring you in. You've driven LMGT3s in the sim. I got a question. I did notice that only about half the cars lined up to go out for the qualifying lap. What's the strategic advantage, or what's the reasoning for not going out immediately? I bet it is. Hearn and Rule still yet to come out of the pit lane. Don't know if they're actually here today. Asenpamber is on an out lap. And as we were talking, Martin Lawrence reset quick lap again. 44.174 the mark to beat. Two Fords out front with his sometimes teammate Christopher Strepa half a second down. Dauber up to third, Plata fourth, Van Perez down to fifth. And just as I say that, Van Perez does go quicker up to third. A 44.936 slots them into the second row, drops Plata down to fifth. Bertz in seventh as K-Boss goes to P6, a 46.372 on the board for the Lamborghini, as the Lamborghinis are mostly grouped together in the middle of the field. Of course, split qualifying the first 10 minutes for LMGT3, as I believe there's a Darude sandstorm off of that corner, and it was one of the Mustangs getting it all wrong. The second half of the qualifying effort, the final 10 minutes, are for the hypercars. Then Paris has taken their Aston back to the pit lane. As best as I can judge, that will be the end of their qualifying, and so will it be for Joe Dauber, who, well, quite nicely illustrated, is parked off of the side of the road, probably doing some sort of radar trap or something in that police liveried Ford Mustang. Or Corvette, actually. That was sacrilege, what I just said. My citizenship's going to get revoked. Back to you, Ted.
I have just realised, Jesse, that my microphone wasn't set up properly, so everything I just said was nothing. But luckily, I have now fixed it. I just noticed it on our side, unfortunately. But I was talking about when Jesse asked me the question about how slipstream and stuff can affect the car and make it a bit wiggly in the braking, and you might be going a bit too fast. And in qualifying, you don't want that. So that's why they gave them a gap. But yeah, qualifying coming to an end for the LMGT3s. There's only a few out at the minute, and the hypercars are currently lining up on pit exit. So we've got Genesis followed by a BMW, followed by a Ferrari. And I see an Aston Martin in the background there. Good old Aston. Don't have to manage the hybrid because there is no hybrid system. And we see Fabian Schmidberger in the background in his NOP/SJ&H, followed by the SJ&H of Billy Octane doing a bit of a nice drift out of pit
He
lane.
always does that. He always does that. Is there an advantage to that? Klaus Nyring coming across the line to complete the majority of LMGT qualifying. I think there may be one more car. May actually just be Klaus Nyring yet to, or not Klaus Nyring. It may just be Azenpamber as it is to come across the line to complete the qualifying. Martin Lawrence, the mark to beat, and Azenpamber's done it. Azenpamber has stolen pole at the literal last second. It's a 44.164. Azenpamber from all the way from last to pole. Martin Lawrence, Verstrepe, Plata, Van Parijs, Nyring, Dauber, Boss, Fertz, Kestemont, Tucky, the drivers that took time. Those are your 11 starting LMGT3 drivers. As far as we know, Martin Lawrence is still out there on a valid lap, but it is a slow lap unless they dig really deep here in the third sector.
And that's going to be a no, Jesse. He's going to do a pit entry. So I think that is all our GT3s for now. Let's head on over to... Let's go over to Comey to see how he's going to be doing.
I love this car. This livery, the Shell Oils livery, but in black and silver. It's a sort of a rare color. Like most hypercars today are quite vibrant in general, but to have a more sort of dark black and silver, very classic, very sort of late 80s, early 90s style of paint scheme. Looks good.
Does look good. Now those yellow flags will be for the LMGT3s. Probably just parking on the side of the track and returning to the pit lane. But yeah, we'll see how these drivers do in the hypercars. It is very difficult here. I haven't liked these or the LMP2s last time I drove them, as Azenpamber just go faster apparently. So there we go. There was still another car out on track. I'm not sure who was meant to do that, but hey ho. But yeah, the hypercars, because you want to throw them through a corner, they get a little bit snappy, and they don't want to go the way you want it to go through a corner. So you have to try and be smooth. At the same time, you got to be aggressive in qualifying. Most of these guys will have qualifying setups to some extent. Some people will just run a race setup with qualifying fuel. So you have to see what happens.
Of course, my personal experience is the Genesis is extra tricky. One of the newest, if not the newest, hypercar added to LMU. And the braking system, all these cars are bespoke. They're all very different. A Peugeot is not going to handle like a Cadillac. It's not going to handle like a Porsche or a BMW, etc., and so forth. They're all very different. The Genesis, though, in my opinion, and I said this last week, and I've spent the better part of the last 2 weeks noticing how different. You can feel it when you drive it, though it is hard to explain. But on top of that, you can visually see how different the Genesis is to drive it. It's very tricky indeed. Of course, it'll improve. Oh my goodness, it'll improve as people improve upon setting the car up. Typical Peugeot twitchiness right there. Very nearly gets away, but Calbray able to wrangle the car. Huge dip right there in the road, and another part of the track where it falls away. A huge twitch from Calbray, who looks like they're going to set the quickest time. Comey currently has a 36.386, still the quickest first sector, all dependent on what happened in the third. And Calbray good enough for provisional pole early, a 35.590. Comey now down to second place. Colombo third. Fabian Schmidberger in fourth place. Zagor is your top five, as more and more times come through. Said this last week, I'll say it again. Huge shout out to our buddy, friend of the box and RCI, Fabian Schmedberger, who, after my absence when I was out of country, took me to school a little bit and explained a lot about the ins and outs and the how-tos about LMU, helped me really understand some of the finer points of LMU physics and why drivers do things, why they don't do some things, what the advantages and the disadvantage of doing certain things were. Huge shout out to Fabs, always a help here to us behind the scenes most of the time. But thank him so much for his insight. It's been invaluable to me. Galbraith continues to lead. Smits takes the Toyota to P2, 79 100ths of a second between the two of them. Galbraith to Smits, Gaicomi, Colombo, Wilkinson, the top five now as Reese gets up inside the top five. Gaicomi continues to improve. That was a huge improvement, Ted, a 32.978 now.
Yeah, just been beaten out by Thomas though with a 32.938, so 5/100ths of a second difference. So it's getting hot up in the top end of the field. I wonder if Colombo can join them. Dries, maybe Kerrigan in the Porsche could come and join them today, but we'll have to wait and see. But we do have 16 hypercars together, and someone that is new to the champ, Jesse. This guy, Ricky Barry.
Yeah, Ricky Barry back. He has many names. A lot of us just call him the GOAT. But Ricky Barry joining us. Not his first LMU championship here in RCI, but it is the first appearance this season as they look to get to grips with a lot of the new systems. I believe this will be the first championship they've entered since the tire update, Mr. Edwards, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to be working on that, though it is a familiar track for them. They've raced, as far as I recall, they've raced Algarve here in RCI competition twice now. So they should at least not be fumbling with the track. It's just going to be getting to grips with the tire and the physics model improvements and updates that have come about in the last couple of months. Calbert and Gaicomi continue to fight over pole position, and it's the Genesis again. A 31.989 from Gaicomi puts them back to the top. Colombo gets close. A 32.065 just misses out on the pole position. 76 100ths. Zeno Van Drisha up to third. A 32.736. And Billy Octane improves to 6th. Kerrigan up to 7th. Schmedberger improves for 12th briefly. DeGore goes P9 with that lap.
Yeah, it's getting close in the field just between quite a few drivers, but third place is nowhere near what I would have thought there would have been. 7, almost 8 tenths difference from Colombo. Then again, Clay has just come in with 32.4, still 4 tenths off, which is quite surprising that the Genesis and the Ferrari are doing amazing here. Dion Smits now goes to third. I keep talking, everyone keeps getting faster, Jesse. A 32.281 from Dion Smits in the new styled Toyota. So getting to grips with that car.
Which looks gorgeous, by the way. Big. Am I to understand that it's a Toyota racing car now and not a Gazoo racing car as well? I believe that team has changed names. They're not GR, they're TR now, I'm pretty sure. Which would mean that they've brought their racing program in-house, I think, if that is indeed the case. But nevertheless, the front of that car, the rear quarter of that car is really the same, honestly. It's almost a mirror image. The front clip of the car, however, could not be more different than the last TSO iteration of the car, and it looks fantastic, and it seems to be going pretty well for Smits. Voken also went quicker, up into 7th place. Billy Octane 1.3 off after that lap. That keeps them in 8th. Gaicomi over Colombo. Smits, Calbert, the top 4, with Clay inside the top 5, bouncing Zeno Van Drisha out to 6th place. What does Clay have? Not an improvement that time. Must have really slowed down in the third sector, was up in sectors 1 and 2. 2 seconds down in the third tells me that they were off. 50 seconds left here in qualifying. Everyone giving it everything they've got. Smits does bring the new
Wow.
facelifted Toyota around. 9/100ths off of pole, puts them on the front row, bumps Colombo and everyone else down. Voken down to fourth, Calber into fifth, Clay outside the top five as several cars resetting into the pit lane, including Reese Wilkinson, who will take no further part, and Voken as well.
Yeah, well, the top three are very close now. They're saying, I keep talking, Jesse, they keep getting faster. Guy Comey goes even faster with 31.903. He is now a tenth and a half in front of Smits and Colombo. Colombo just sets the lap. It is slower, but he does have enough time to do another one. Let's see what Darish does. His pace doesn't improve. Does not improve one bit. That was 6 tenths off his fastest, so these drivers are struggling here, Jesse. It's not a track that a lot of people like, so if you're good at it, you're
It,
gonna be far ahead.
it's a technical circuit. It doesn't look it on camera, but when you drive this place, it is a very technical racetrack. I wouldn't call it street circuit esque, but it's got this unforgiving sort of layout. It's very difficult indeed. Vulture Rybecki goes quicker up into eighth, one of the only cars to really improve. I say that, but Clay has gone top of the heap in the BMW. A 31.854 provisional pole for Clay in the dying embers, but what will Guy Comey have to say about it? Smits is out of it. The Toyota trying to gain lap time is off of the road and back into the pit lane. It's a straight fight. Clay, a 31.854 to beat. Here comes Guy Comey, quickest of all, sector 1, personal best, sector 2. Keep in mind, they only need 49/100ths. They've got it now as long as they don't lose it. Down the pit straight. Here they come in the Genesis to retake pole, and he doesn't do it.
Wow.
He doesn't do it. He loses it all and then some in the third sector. Guy Comey will have to settle for second place. Clay in the final last gasp may have stolen pole, and in fact they have, as Van Drescha retires to the pit lane. That is that for qualifying, an exciting qualifying here from Portimao. While we wait for the standings and the results, Kevin Boss, who's in the race tonight, says that their Lambo, due to the BOP change, has lost more than 8 tenths of a second. Here is the results of hypercar qualifying. Clay, Guy Comey share the front row. Smits, Colombo the next row. Vander Voken, Calber, Van Drescha, Rybecki, Octane, Wilkinson the top 10. Kerrigan, Badowski, Schmedberger, DeGore, Withel, and Barry, the 16 hypercars that will take the green tonight. On to LMGT3, where Rune Azenpamber out qualified Martin Lawrence to take the top spot. In the second row, Verstappen and Plata. Then it's Van Parijs, Nyring, Dauber, Boss, Faerts, Kestemont, the top 10.
Well, Jesse, let's have a look at our standard show because I think I've already had a sneak peek because I get sent by Kerrigan every week, and they have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, they certainly have. Here is your championship standings through through 4 rounds. We're on round number 5 today, mind you. But after 4 rounds, it's Eduardo Di Giacomi, 141 points over Junton Clay, 126. Still in control is Guy Comey right now. Behind them, Mohamed Colombo in third place with 80. Thomas Calbury with 65 points, 1 point in front of Martin Vaselli. Rounds out the top 5. Vander Voken, 63. Smits on 55, 52 for Octane. Van Drescha has 50. Wilkinson has 46. All of those drivers passed the podium positions, past Muhammad. All those drivers separated by just a few points in hypercar, and that will certainly change today, you would imagine. LMGT3 has been dominated by Rune Azenpamber. That has not stopped here today. Another impressive run in qualifying for Azenpamber, 155 points, but it is anybody's game beyond that. Daniel Hearn, 84, Blata on 83 are your podium contenders. But just 2 points behind and off the podium is Joe Dauber with 81. A few behind them is Jans Paris. Klaus Nyring on 74. Lawrence has 70. Vestlepa 66. Boss on 53. Kestamont rounds out the top 10 on 37. Same story, really, Ted Edwards, in both classes. Outside of the top position or two, everybody is only separated by a point or two. And in a long season like this, you'd expect there to be more separation. But the varied nature of the tracks, the constant updates that LMU gets, it's kept the drivers on their toes, and it's created some fantastic racing, and it's created a crazy close point situation.
Yeah, it's nice for us to see the close points, but I know for the drivers it is not nice to see because they will now have a rivalry with that one person where they need to be in front to gain the most points. For us, like I say, it's amazing because we get to see some good fighting in the race, but as we've seen already here today, that it is very difficult to get a lap uh, in qualifying at least, to get a good lap going. We've seen a lot of drivers having two good sectors and then the third sector being really slow, so I have to see what the race does. Obviously, the race, it's not just a 30-minute race, it's an hour and 20, so they've got time to sort of, push at the start and then start relaxing and get the pit stop done and then come back out and then see where they are because we won't know where anyone is until the pit stops are done because it always changes every week when someone comes into the pit lane ahead of someone else. The next minute they're both done their pit stops and the guy who was in front at the start is now behind them, and it's really interesting to see from our point of view of like how did that happen? And then we have to try and use our brains, Jesse, to see why that happened. But it's the fun of being a commentator.
Brains, what are those? Well, as we get up on the starting grid and get ready to go green here for round number 5 of the RCI Multi Sprint Championship, let's get you up to speed with Algarve as a circuit. As we said in the intro, located in Portimao in Portugal. The track opened in 2008 and has hosted just about every kind of racing you could possibly imagine. Anything from tin tops to open wheels to a little bit of the old stuff, old FIA GT racing as well. Open wheels, the lot have raced around here. 15 or so turns, though you could argue that it's 16, but that's a Ryan Gill argument. We'll leave for him. 14.6 kilometers, 2.89 miles around. Fastest lap set by Lewis Hamilton in the year 2020 in his Mercedes W12. A 1 minute 18 that was back then. We won't be troubling that particular time. But still, nothing to complain about with the weather, folks. Happy to have all of you with us. A lovely day, 27 degrees on the track, 24C ambient here in Portugal, getting ready to go green, and it's a huge start from Clay, who pulls up, maybe heating up the tires. Everybody else will snake up to them as the start-finish line is way down here. It's not a traditional formula style start line where it's in the middle or close to the final corner. It's way down here and we are green, but that's going to be a penalty. 10 seconds for Van Parijs for jumping the start, being out of position, but never the matter. Up front, it's wheel to wheel. Giacomi and Clay racing each other side by side. They're actually 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see. Colombo and Smits, Voken, they're all trying to get down single file, but they're not for the lead. They've just now figured it out. Giacomi leads Clay over Colombo, Smits, Voken, Calber, and Drisha as they get single file, but maybe they're thinking about being 2 wide, nearly 3 wide here, down into the hairpin as they once again get it sorted out for the first couple of cars. Smits and Colombo still side by side. Calber and Voken now side by side. Drisha, Rybecki all fighting over position, and somehow they've managed to keep it off of one another.
Yeah, that was some crazy driving from the hypercar drivers, keeping it nice and clean for now. But yeah, Van Parijs getting their 10-second penalty that has disappeared, but I believe it's still there. I'm not too sure. That will be out of position on the formation before the speed limit, or maybe after the speed limit has been applied. But they have to do 60 kph until the green flag drops, but we'll have to wait and see. GT field already spread out, as we always see every week. No one really fighting as such, so it's pretty easy here. They may be in the train, but these cars are very hard to overtake from each other, even though they're different manufacturers. But still, keeping it nice and clean at the back end of the grid, whereas at the front, let's have a little nosy. I see Richard Whittle's been overtaken by Ricky Barry, maybe. There is a Fabs in the background as well. So wonder what happened to Fabian Schmidberger. I can actually see a replay, which we can go to in just a second. But Ricky Barry making moves already up to 14th.
Well, a couple of cars moving around, but as far as I can see, that was the cleanest race start of the season here on Multi-Sprint on RCI TV. That was really well done by everybody, and it wasn't for lack of trying. It wasn't like they were in a procession line. They were 2 by 2 for the first 2 sectors of the racetrack before they got it sorted out. LMGT3 figured it out a little bit earlier than that, but even still, this is still a hotly contested situation because there were no real incidents. The pack is still together, trying to go around the outside here. These two racing each other quite closely indeed, Voken and Colombo, and they'll just about sort that out. But look at this, talk about being in a queue. They are all queuing up here, all red race cars as well, different manufacturers, of course. Red must be the color of the year. It's so in right now. Colombo, Voken, Kalber, and Drisha I'm talking about. I've just realized they're all in 4 different manufacturers, but the colors are almost identical. Red and black. Gaicomi comes across to reset quick lap again, a 33.167. One of the interesting things about WEC is these tires on these cars, 1 off, 3 wide. That's a scary proposition, but they sort it out. Huge lockup there by the Kerrigan car. And that's going to allow everyone through. Wilkinson will go through. Kerrigan is running a hard left front, and I understand, Ted Edwards, that is not an uncommon tactic in a circuit like Algarve.
No, most of the tracks that we race, we normally, if it's this hot like it is today, we run a hard compound on one of the tyres. Normally it's the left side, so yeah, front left is a good shout. Surprised they're not doing the rears, but maybe you don't get up to speed. There's not many fast corners here to really heat the tyres up. As we can see, we're coming to a braking zone now. We're doing a double right-hander, so definitely going to be eating that front left. But the only car, Jesse, if I show the tyres on the screen, the only car to have a different compound.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, it's nice to see that we can see each individual tire now when one is different. That was thanks to Paul, who makes this UI for us, for anyone to use for free. So,
thank you, Paul.
Got to give a good shout out to him because
it is gorgeous.
He puts out updates almost every day, Jesse. He's that crazy about it.
Man after my heart right there. Hey, seriously, we appreciate everything you do here at RCI, you know, and for all the communities, but your graphics are lovely. They're informative. I mean, they're absolutely perfect. If I could design a UI as a broadcaster, if I could design a UI, it would look almost exactly like this. So it's brilliant. All the information is exactly where you would want it, and it displays what you would want. Haven't missed a whole lot in the race. Aspen Pamber and Martin Lawrence continue to exchange the fast lap in LMGT3, but they are still the way they started. Start with hypercars. Gaicomi over Clay, Smits, Colombo, Voken, the top 5, and then LMGT3. Aspen Pamber, Lawrence, Vestrepa, Plata, Veperis, the top 5 in that class as well. Lovely message just came into the chat. Love your commentary. Well, we appreciate you appreciating us, and actually I appreciate you being in chat. Thank you so much for your kind words indeed. As the lead may have not changed in either class, Ted Edwards, but they're both within a second, Gaicomi and Clay, are less than half a second apart, as you can see illustrated here. Gaicomi has not driven away. Azenpamber has not been able to lose Martin Lawrence either in LMGT3, despite Gaicomi continuing to reset quick lap. It doesn't matter. Clay is in that tow and is being pulled around here.
Yeah, he's only a tenth slower, but I mean, that's not bad going since you are in the dirty air of the car in front. So just have to keep an eye on these two. Just looking back through the hypercar field, and Colombo's almost 2 seconds off now. Smits is a second off from Clay, and Van der Becken is actually on the rear end of Colombo in the V12. Oh, so it makes a lovely noise.
Yes, indeed. A lot of different engine notes. I love the hypercar program as Azenpamber continues to reset quick lap. It was a 44.330. Martin Lawrence ran a 44.396 that time through. So not even a tenth difference between those two, though that gap is hovering around 1 second. Martin Lawrence is doing everything they can to stay as close to that Lexus as possible, and that's exactly what we expect out of the legend Martin Lawrence. Azenpamber, though, forming their own legend here on RCI Fridays in the multi-sprint series. Gaicomi, Clay continue to lap around in the hypercar class together. It was a 33.2 versus a 33.1 that time. Clay quicker that lap as they filter through. Smits catching up just a little bit as well. All three of those cars now within a second of each other. As you can see here, Smits in the Toyota catching up to the Genesis and the BMW. I love these graphics. These graphics are fantastic. 7/10 is all that's in it between the top three right now, but you were rightly so pointed out, Colombo falling back a little bit into the clutches of Van der Voken, it looks like.
Yeah, it's getting heated still. I mean, even in GT3, they're still close throughout the field. Azenpamber over a second distance from Lorenk, and Verstappen 2.3 back from Lorenk, so they're not as close, but Emma Plate, Chris Nyring are behind P4. As Azenpamber just go faster again, so Alexa's strong here today, Jesse, against the Mustangs.
Yeah, that was a 44.2 versus a 44.7 for Lawrence. So now starting to widen the gap a little bit is Rune Azenpamber, who has dominated this LMGT3 championship and continuing to do that today. You've just got to tip your hat to a driver who just refuses to be beaten, not in a qualifying, not in a race, every lap, refuses to be beaten every single lap. Looks like Tim Peck's joined us in chat to say hopefully less DNFs than last week. Yes, indeed. We had a rash of DNFs. As far as I can tell, we haven't had a single DNF. Ignore rule in 13th place. The graphics show drivers active in the championship that did not show up. So that is not an actual DNF. That's a DNS here today. So as far as I can tell, no DNFs. Fabian Schmedberger talked about them falling all the way to the back of Hypercar. That car didn't appear to be damaged at all. We didn't quite see what happened. I would imagine they just got shuffled out, but that car certainly not injured. The times look fine. They've got a position up to 15th, and they are catching Ricky Berry for the 14th place position. Ricky Berry themselves are looking to get a little bit of a move on as well to catch up to 13th place. A little bit of work there to do, but Schmedberger on the back of the Cadillac fight going on here in the mid-pack. Everywhere you look, there is fights, and here we have it. The hypercars have caught the LMGT3 field, the sketchiest part of any race, Ted Edwards, I was just going to say.
Yeah, that was, I think that was Tucky who they just got. Oh, it might be on actually. I think that was Tucky, because there's another Lamborghini in the Porsche here, which is the P11 and P10. So, see, there's GT3s are scrapping, and the hypercars are scrapping, and the hypercars are going to make their way past GT3 stick to their line, and it gets a little bit worrying at times with the the hypercars trying to make the way through. So it's not easy, and you don't want to lose time, but you've got to make it safe. As Thomas Cabert having a problem with his car.
Oh dear. Calber in a little bit of a pickle here. The Peugeot falling down. We saw them extra twitchy in qualifying, but that was probably down to the low fuel load of the cars a little bit. If I had to guess what the Peugeot is like, I haven't driven it much, but I would imagine it was something to do with that. They looked fine here in the race, and I'm willing to believe that's fuel load / weight that caused them to look like that, or maybe just pushing extra hard in the quali session. Calber continues to go around. Doesn't look like there's anything unusual there, just a momentary moment, as it were, for one of the Peugeots. Of course, Peugeot, when they were introduced, the non-winged version, they were very wayward indeed. Of course, with the wing, a completely different animal. Talk about that at Le Mans this weekend, specifically, Ted Edwards. Absolutely nowhere in qualifying, but in practice, they look fine.
Yeah, it's quite shocking that, because we thought for once Peugeot was going to have a good qualifying, but when it came down to it, they were nowhere near, so it was quite disappointing. And Ferrari got knocked out as well, so...
Yeah. Well, I'm less worried about the Ferrari because they've proven that they can go from the back to the front and do it in multiple years. So I'm less concerned about that, I guess. But you look at Peugeot and there's all that expectation, and then it amounted to nothing. And then you get to practice and they're running times that are comparable to the top 5, and you go, well, maybe the car just doesn't qualify well.
True that. Oh, I just had to overtake for P3 apparently. Smith's being overtaken by Colombo. As I see on my other screen, as Smits goes for the dive on the inside. Will he make it through? Very difficult corner because you're tight in and you're fast out. But no, he doesn't. Colombo gets ahead of Leon Smits in the Toyota. As we're coming up on the back end of the leaders of GT3, which that would be Chris Verstappen in the first Mustang, and Martin Lawrence will be in the black and gold further ahead. Anson Pamper, Jesse, is just blown away. He's just gone.
Yeah, he's doing what Rune does. Rune, I mean, all credit to Martin Lawrence, giving it everything. A multi-time LMU winner here in RCI, not to mention all the damage he did in ACC over the years. It may still continue to do on the Monday champ when the mood strikes. It's just amazing what Rune's been able to do. And in that Lexus, Martin's keeping them honest. But Azenpamber, you saw the championship lead they have. That's not by accident or a fluke. Rune Azenpamber absolutely dominating the LMGT3 field. Martin Lawrence doing everything they can to keep them earnest and doing a pretty darn good job of that, hanging on to about 2.25 seconds behind. Meanwhile, out front, Comey and Clay still not separated. They are still less than a second apart. Smits has overtaken Colombo, by the way. Smits back up into P3, maybe using traffic a little bit here. For my money, the Ferrari's a little quicker than the Toyota, but it doesn't seem to matter right now. Excellently placed by Smits, getting back by the Ferrari, but here comes Colombo back up the inside, and they're going to have the pass done again. No, they're not. A little bit of a touch, a little bit of extra wiggle there. Room afforded now, and a squeeze by Colombo. Colombo still there. The outside will become the inside if he can hold it, but he can't. And there's single file again, the crossover move. This is brilliant racing. Colombo and Smits drag race down the pit straight of Algarve. Who's got the grunt? Looks like the Ferrari down the inside will have them this corner, but check back in a lap and we'll see if they'll do it all over again.
Yeah, the Toyota got a wiggle on in the braking zone, so Smits really hard on the brakes and trying to get off them before he locked, so he did well to get that car stopped, but They are still third and fourth, and this is going to be probably one of the biggest fights we're going to see all day. And like I say, pit stops, Jesse, it's going to change everything. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Both are on the same amount of virtual energy, and they are both dropping the same amount of virtual energy. But I will say, Clay in second place, if I bring the energy up, he's got 70%. He's actually not doing too bad compared to the cars around him. We've got Van Driesch, who's just dropped down from 70 to 69. Same with Thomas Kalberg. Bleat Octane on 71. Right, Becky Wilkinson both were 71s. Kerrigan, Diorg, 70s. Ricky Barry's just dropped from 72 to 70. Same with Fabian Schmidberger. So the virtual energy for hypercars is massive because there's no pit window like we have in ACC. It's just when you run out, you need to pit before you do. Because you can have fuel in the car, but if you run out of virtual energy, then there's your penalty. So it's it's one of them where you want to push it to the edge, but also you need to save enough so you can probably eke out another lap. But I have noticed that an undercut actually works in favour. Now I don't think these guys will take tyres unless the deg today is high. Then they may take another set, or one tyre, two tyres, three tyres, because funny enough you can do that in this sim, which is very nice indeed. But it's gonna get very heated towards the end of this race, and really can't wait for it.
Yeah, somewhere someone at home is watching this back and going, 1% can't matter, surely. Well, it does, because it is like a snowball rolling downhill. If you have 1% extra energy now, in another 20 minutes, you're going to have an extra percentage that they don't have. And in an additional 20 minutes, in 40 minutes from now, you're going to have an additional energy percentage that they don't have. 3 or 4% is a lap or two extra that you could do, or that you don't have to fill up, which means less time in the pit lane. So yes, it does matter. That old adage, every drop counts. It absolutely matters. And for more on that, a quick explanation on what virtual energy is. It's not like a traditional hybrid system, though that's what people, I think, at face value think of it is. The NRG meter is just a BOP mechanism. Basically, what it does is it ensures that no specific car has a huge advantage over the other cars on fuel economy or pit stop time. I like to refer to it as the Audi rule, because if you go back to Le Mans more than a decade ago with Audi's diesel program, the TDI system, they were winning races by virtue of just not being in the pits. So the NRG, the virtual energy system, hopes to combat that and keep everything on the level. There's several different ways you can BOP cars. You can do it by trying to BOP them on lap time, and you can also do it in the pit lane. That is a very simplistic explanation of the virtual energy system. For a full explanation, go to the WEC website. They have an excellent article that explains it in full. This fight for third, absolutely continuing. Colombo, Smits, and Zeno Van Drisha all fighting for it. And I just saw Van der Voken as well has joined that. That is a four-way fight for third place.
Sure is, Jesse, and I forgot for a second that I was commentating, not just broadcasting today. You may have heard me make a little noise. I make little noises during the broadcast when we have normally Jack and Jesse here. Jack's away today, so I'm filling this place. But I did just forget myself that I am on the microphone. But we see here Joe Dolber not doing too great in the Corvette this time round. He's been saying in practice that he's just struggling. I think it was a mixture between the track and the car not liking the track, so this is why he's so far back. Because normally he would be up with at least top 5. He's been doing stellar pace in the car, because we don't really see the Corvette GT3 doing too well. The GTE, when we used to run them quite a lot back in the day, before the GT3s came along, was very, very strong, but this Corvette's not the best, but Joe can get a lot of it out of the car, so he's doing great down in P7. But he's on the back of Chris Nyring, who is on the back of Emo Platter. So not too bad. In the foreground, or in the background, should I say, is P4 of the Aston line. 5 seconds off Verstappen, and Verstappen's almost 6 seconds off Lawrence, and Lawrence almost 3.5 seconds off Anson Pamper. It's Dalton zonage up at the top end of the grid, Jesse.
It sure is. And speaking more to Joe Dauber's prowess behind the wheel, he's been a dominant force at times in RCI. I'm pretty sure he's won an LMU race, but most recently the ACC Monday champ, a winner there.
Sure is. And I've just seen in the hypercar class, Smits has dropped off. Vidris is caught up to Smits. Thomas Kappberg is now in front of Van der Vecken. So we're going to have a quick look at a overtake replay.
Something's happened, as you said. Van der Vecken has fallen back, and those cars that were separated by tenths are now separated by seconds. It appears it's already happened here. Certainly behind is Vecken, who was quite close. A car off into the dirt. It was Kalber. It was Kalber who is off as well.
The nicest thing,
that doesn't explain.
We can see from the other car's point of view of what happened. So this should be Willem van der Vecken now, and we'll see what happens. Is he lock up going into, or he loses the rear on the curb, ends up in the gravel. So again,
that's the same turn a lap later that Kalber goes off in.
Yeah, again, Jesse, amazing work by Paul to add a second point of view in a replay system. You don't normally get that. You just normally get one, and then the broadcast will have to find their way through to try and find the other car, but made it so simplistic for us, as we see.
Oh man!
Wait, is it Lamborghini quicker? What's happening here?
Yeah, well, the thing is, in the corners, they're not too dissimilar in a corner like that. So you also have the hypercar trying to keep themselves off by taking the tighter line, which is not the faster line. So for a moment in a corner like that, it appeared they were going the same speed, because they kind of were at that particular moment, because the corner was taken away from the hypercar. But just excellent job. A lot of trust there as well, I have to say. I think that was Kevin Boss that we saw. Actually, that may have not been Kevin Boss. Was that Fairds?
That was
Fairds.
Yeah.
All due respect to Fairds for trusting the hypercar down the inside, and all credit to the hypercar for doing exactly what you're supposed to do when lapping cars. Still nothing in it between the top two, Gaicomi and Clay, still separated by less than a second, some 25 minutes into the race. They have left Colombo in third place, but Colombo had to fight their way to third, but they have done. But they are 10 seconds adrift of the top two, as Colombo now legs out Smits for fourth. Van Drisha continuing to contest fourth place with Smits for the time being. And we saw what happened to Kalber and Vecken, though Vecken has recovered and is now on the back of the Peugeot for sixth. And an LMGT3 pictured here. Joe Dauber finds themselves in a little bit of a sandwich. That's Imo Plata's Ferrari in front of him and Klaus Neiring's Porsche behind. That Ferrari's not pulling over for the police. Well, he doesn't have his lights on.
He does on the top, but they're not lit. But Joe Dauber did get past Klaus Neiring a lap ago, so he made his way through eventually, and he's already pulled quite a nice gap and is catching the Ferrari in front. And as we see there on the left-hand side, 6/10 quicker. Oh, squeaky. I think that's Clyde trying to get through, trying to catch the lead of Gaicomi. But yeah, it's difficult when you're trying to get through the pack here. Let's have a little bit of an onboard with Clyde to see what it looks like in the BMW.
This is the fight for the lead. That is not a lap car in front of Clay. That is the leader, Gaicomi, and that's pretty much the view the BMW driver has had all race long. Neither driver flinching, neither making a mistake. Both cars look very planted. They look very comfortable. Look at the hand movements of Clay. Very calm, very relaxed. There's very little to no counter steer necessary. Oh my God! And Clay's gone off. Or excuse me, Gaicomi's gone off. Gaicomi's gone off. Clay goes through. I was just praising how mundane it looked in the cockpits of those race cars. And as if on cue, the leader guy Comey goes off,
Full
just
throttle.
lights up the rear, just lights up the rears.
Yeah, we can get a bit of a on board. See what happened. It's out of this second right-hander, which is very tight.
He wasn't even on the curb, Ted.
No. Oh yeah.
Just lit him up. Just lit him up going downhill. It's that easy. Didn't use all of the road. And the reason I bring up on the curb is because a lot of times we'd associate that kind of spin with hitting a curb, but he didn't use all of the road and he shortened up his exit. And I think that may have contributed as Joe Dauber has gone off as well.
Yeah, it's tricky rejoin there because you're coming straight into the racing line, but you don't want to get on the grass too much because you can light those rear wheels up and you'll span around. So he's dropped down from 6th to 7th, so he's only lost one position, but now he has Daniel Hearn behind him in that blue Porsche. So he has dropped 7 seconds back, Jesse. Probably a bit more actually, because he was in front of Nyring. But it looks pretty slow through that corner. So I'm guessing those rear tyres, well, maybe all the tyres are really warm. But I want to actually see. I don't think. No, actually, we just saw Badowski go through in the Peugeot. It says here contact, but I don't think there was because we just saw it on the screen. So that was not the yellow flag. The yellow flag was self-inflicted. I'm going to have a guess because he is on his own in that incident. So he's getting overtaken now by. Ooh, he almost got overtaken by the Porsche. He looks like he's struggling. Let's have a look at his hand movements here.
Well, I mean, he will be after going off like that, all over the curb. That's a little bit too much curb for my liking. I don't know if the Corvette minds it as much. Oh, just understeer for days right there. It immediately comes back on the line to block the Porsche of Hearn. But yeah, that car, those tires, you talked earlier about not taking tires. Hypercar attempts to come through on the outside. Huge crash. Both cars into the wall. A wheel goes flying, and that's day done.
I think that's Joe's wheel. I'm gonna guess it is, Jesse. Yeah, it is. It's his front left. That's there is not a yellow flag. Oh no, there must be. I think it's this one, Jesse. I was about to say. Let's have a quick look at that from the outside camera because we were on board. They got the Genesis
Number
on the outside,
6.
and he just washes wide.
Oh, huge impact into the barriers here. Both cars hard into the wall. Someone's tire goes flying, but both cars attempt to drive away.
That was Joe's, as you can see there, Jesse.
It's Joe. Yeah, the front left is gone. Joe, I don't know if Joe realized his tire was gone or not, but a frustrating day comes to a sudden grinding halt as that's day done. Reese Wilkinson, the hypercar involved, they were able to pull away from the scene, but as you can see in the steering, that Genesis has severe suspension damage, but I probably didn't need to see the in-car to tell you that. That was a hard hit in the barrier. That is going to be extensive repair, and the fact that they're still driving that quickly around here is was very brave.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't lose his rear wing because they are quite fragile on any car in this sim. As you see, a wheel came off. So obviously Joe got the most of the brunt from the impact, and Wilkinson, luckily for them, it didn't get the worst of the damage yet. Broken steering is not great, but you can, if you can manage it and it's still quick, you can still drive on it. It's just getting used to your hands not being straight on a stroke, which is very weird to try and do. But he is into the pit lane. I think he'll be able to finish. Actually, I don't know, Jesse, if I'm honest. Because the energy, as you can see, is on 47%, and the other guys are on quite a lot less, apart from Ricky Barry and Billy Octane, who have been saving, and Fabian Schmidberger, who are all in the mid to high 40s compared to the rest of the hypercar field. So just have to see how he does when
He might be able to turn the engine power down and nurse this thing home from here, maybe, because he's going to be in the pit lane for quite, if he's repairing that suspension damage, or even the bodywork damage, he's going to be there for a minute at least. So he may be able to get this car home from here and salvage something out of this. I believe Joe Dauber's joined us in chat to say, I needed that, Will.
I shouldn't laugh.
Somebody else.
That was funny.
Somebody else in chat. Sorry, I'm not wearing, I don't have my contacts in. I do apologize. Says no virtual safety car. Nope, no virtual safety car for that. All the cars kind of left the scene, and the debris, and this is a great thing about sim racing, the debris cleans itself up. No track workers necessary. So the track is clean, except for the dirt that may have been kicked up. But beyond that, we are back to a clean racetrack as one of the drivers, Wilkinson, drove away. Dauber towed to the pit lane. But chat definitely reacting to those couple of chaotic moments. If you missed it, Guy Comey dominated the opening part of the race. Clay kept them honest. And as we were riding on board Clay, we saw Guy Comey lose it of their own volition coming out of a corner. That has given a nice lead to Clay. But just as I've said that Genesis of Guy Comey is reeling in the gap now. That was about 4.5 seconds. It's down to 3.5 seconds first to second now. Keep an eye on that with 47 minutes to go in this race.
Yeah, Clyde doing 33.6s compared to Guy Comey's 32.8s and 9s last 2 laps. So he is catching back up, but Colombo with the fastest lap of the session. They're all 32.
How? In the middle of the middle of the session?
Low fuel. Good tyre deg.
That's true. Very, very well pointed out.
Just looking at Reels Wilkinson, he is back out on track. He's only, I was going to say he's 17, but that's Reels Whittle. He is a lap down, I should say. But he has done his pit stop and he has 89% of energy, which he had 91 when he refueled. So he's going to make it by the sounds of it. But he was pretty quick in there in the pit stop. So I think it was by the looks of it, 85 seconds in to out and 54 in the pit box, and it looks like he has taken 4 new tyres. So he's back out on track and still racing, which is a big thing, especially when you've had a crash like that. That didn't really look like his fault. Joe just got a bit wide, is all.
Unfortunate part about multi-class racing, as we see, I believe that's De Gore in the Aston locking up into the hairpin. Ricky Berry we were riding on board with, and their return to LMU. Fabian Schmedberger, for a driver that was dead last at the end of the first lap, they're doing pretty well, up to P12. They've gotten by Ricky Berry and De Gore since the last time we checked, and is 7 seconds up the road. Unfortunately for the German driver, they've got that exact gap, 7 seconds to Callum Kerrigan in 11th. Current running order at Hypercar, first 5 cars: Clay, Guy Comey, Colombo, Smits, Van Drescha. All those cars have found space for the first time today, separated by more than 1 second. Not too long ago, it was 4 cars all within a second or so of each other. Asm Pamper continues to lead in LMGT3 over Martin Lawrence, Christoph Estrepa. No change there. Van Felice in 4th. Klaus Neiring, the top 5. Emma Plata down to 6th. But as you can see here, there's almost nothing in it between Plata and Neiring for the final spot inside the top 5. Joe Dauber, after that huge crash, exiting the final turn, becomes the first and only retirement from the race. Galp is not a corner that I would like to crash off in, and it's a long way to that wall, but did nothing to slow those cars down, really, as they hit full force, causing Dauber to lose a tire and a full left front assembly, and cause them to retire. Well, other than that, it's been a pretty by-the-book kind of race. We've seen some good side-by-side racing. We've seen some mistakes, as you would expect from Algarve. Outside of that, it has been a fantastic race, and there's one brewing here between Klaus Neiring and Emma Plata.
Yeah, Chris and Iron got past Mo about 2 laps ago, so the fight is still
Oh,
on.
big
But
off for
Van de
Voken.
Beeken, yeah. Let's have a quick look at that, Jesse. He's got no rear wing.
Oh, that rear wing's gone. Yep. Oh, and the final turn. It's Galp again, turn 15.
It's a wingless Aston. I don't think there's an actual version, but I think we've just made one. Let's have a quick look at the replay, Jesse, and see what happened. Second to last, going to the last corner now. Does he lose it on his own? I'm guessing it's so. Too much curve, too much bouncing, and the rear's gone. Oh, and it did a flip. Let's have a look on the onboard, because obviously that doesn't look
Let's
too...
watch that again.
Yeah.
From on board. Coming through turn 15, Galp just gets a little bit too much of it. Tries to chase it. It snaps on him. And bang! Into the wall. The rear wing goes flying. Luckily for Voken, they are right by pit entry, and they're going to be able to get that car back safely for some body work repairs and some suspension repairs by the looks of that steering wheel. So the Aston of Voken has had an adventure today, but that car is not retiring.
No, he was lucky enough to keep a wheel and keep it going. But I mean, even if you do lose a wheel, Jesse, you can still come into pit lane and replace it. I believe you can still do that, even though...
Can you?
I believe you can. I could be completely wrong, and I would like someone in the chat, in the YouTube chat, to...
I don't remember being able to do that in RF2, but again, this is an iteration of that engine, so maybe. Ferrets is off. The 47 Lamborghini is off.
Oh, they have a penalty as well, Jesse.
Oh, dear.
So
double trouble for the Lamborghini.
The penalty is with the yellow flag, so I'm going to guess it's track limits. Would be my only guess. It doesn't tell me what penalty it is, but it'll be a simple drive-through. It doesn't show it on our tower that we can see when we come out of free turn on the left. So let's have a look, because they were in the grass. Oh, this is just
everything's normal here.
So this is completely different from the yellow flag that happened a little bit later on. Yeah, well, there you go. They're coming to the drive-through.
I guess they ran wide in turn 4. It was a flat angle over the hill, but the only thing I can think of is they came out of Lagos and just got a little wide in 4. Easy to do. It happened to me a bunch of times before I started shortening up the corner, but everything else looked fine. But then there was a spin after that, and Ferrets
trying to get out of the way of mine.
Just trying to stay out of the way. Yeah, monster trucks the curbs. I believe you can get a Lamborghini that has sort of monster truck style suspension, but this is not one of those.
Yeah.
Slow prototype. Is that?
That's Van de Beeken on cold tires.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about WEC racing right now that the simulator mimics is how bad cars are on cold tires. How many incidents have we seen this season in WEC, Ted, where hypercars are out there on cold tires in practice and it just goes wrong, especially here at Le Mans this week?
Oh, yeah. When it's going right, it goes wrong. Ignore everything popping up on screen. Software just crashed on me when I was trying to look at Van de Beeken's pit stop, so please bear with. I'm trying to get
it. Didn't want you to know. Didn't
no,
want you to know.
And I'm not going to click it again, but it was very long. It was longer than Reese Wilkinson's, which is not surprising due to he hit the not Reese Wilkinson, sorry.
By the way, confirming something you said, you can change a broken wheel in LMU.
Okay.
All you have to do is change it to change the broken wheel. I assume they mean tire, to a new one. So that's interesting. I'm pretty sure in RF2, that's a cool iteration, because I'm pretty sure in RF2, at least up until the point where I played it, we're around 2020. If you lost the wheel, that was it. There's nothing you could do. They would not replace the whole thing. It would make you DNF. Or in some cases, it would let you drive on 3 wheels for the rest of the race, which was really weird. But that may have just been something the leagues I was racing was doing. Not making you retire. But That's interesting because that is really cool. That is the way it should be, in my opinion, especially in endurance racing where you can basically fix almost anything, except, of course, putting a new engine in the car, which I do believe is not allowed in the rules. The 7's going to go around here.
Yeah,
scary moment for Smits.
Let's have a look at...
scary moment for Van Jerisha.
Let's have a look at
actually,
an onboard of Thomas
Actually,
Cabrera.
That was neither of those. I'm so used to the Toyota numbers.
Oh,
that was none
Thomas
of
Cabrera,
them.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is Badowski and Kalber.
So this was in the same thing. So he just gets on the... Yeah, he's too shallow. He's too shallow. Let's have a look. Sorry, let's have a look at... Oh, did he? Oh, he DNF'd. He quit. Let's have a look at Badowski, because from his point of view, we saw
Billy Octane in front of him.
Yeah, we saw in the rear view
mirror.
mirror
in front of them.
Yeah, we saw in the rearview mirror of Octane that he had to dodge because he couldn't see.
Oh man!
What a dodge, Jesse! What a dodge!
Yeah, you love to see it. Some fast hands right there. That's going to be a retirement for Kalber in the number 7. I do apologize. I was so used to the 7 being a Toyota, but it isn't in this series. And that was Kalber, not Smits. Smits is fine in the 4th place position. Well, what that will do is that's going to promote Billy Octane, Badowski, and everyone else up a spot. Put Octane up into 6th place, Badowski in 7th. Marco Badowski with maybe a candidate for the safe hands move of the race right there with that mobile chicane.
I was just looking at this driver here, Emo Plata, because on my side, on my live timing screen, it said limit, and I was like, what does limit mean? And I just did a bit of deep diving and found out that that means limit means track limits. So he's invalidated his lap. But on about track limits, when my replay system came back up and it shows me all the incidents, Jean Van Paris, Van Paris, is that how you say his name? It's his French. Oh, yes. Hello. What's happening?
Well, it looks like Imo Plata is coming to a stop. That doesn't look like a crash. That looks like a mechanical issue of some sort. The wheel completely straight, and that tells me that they have had some sort of mechanical wheel failure.
Oh, Jesse, I think he's lost connection.
Yeah, well, that would explain it. The wheel indicated to me like it was not making connection, and if the driver is not here, that would explain a lot. The car was slowly sliding to a stop and is now returned to the garage. Imo Plata joins Joe Dauber in the garage. 3 cars now out of today's race. 2 LMGT3s, 1 hypercar.
Yeah, as I was saying with the Aston Martin, penalty of 10 seconds has been added. I think that, let me have a quick look. I think that was from the start of the race. It was not lap 23, so a couple of laps ago, 3 or 4 laps ago. So they do have a penalty to serve. It doesn't show us on the time and tower, so I will bring that up and see why, or if that's not true, if it's not actually a penalty. But we will find out in the pit stops. Obviously, he's 1.5 seconds in front of Chris Nyren, so we can keep an eye on that. And he's 5, 6 seconds in front of Daniel Hearn. So if he drops behind them 2 when they do their pit stops, then we definitely know he's had to serve his penalty. So we'll keep an eye on that. But it's starting to ease out in the hypercar class at the moment. The only closest drivers for fighting is 6th and 7th with Billy Octane and Badowski. At the moment in time, and down in GT3, the only close is, well, there's 2 fights going on for 4th and 5th of Jan Piri and Chris Nyring of 1.5 seconds, and then Tuki and Kestemont of 2 seconds. So it's getting to that point in the race, Jesse, where we have a quick look at our energies on our left-hand side. We obviously see Wilkinson and Van der Becken, after repairing their damage, have taken their virtual energy and there's a lot of red bars, but there's quite a few yellow ones, so that means they're above 20% of virtual
Billy
energy.
Octane
Billy
has done this before
yeah, he
to great
has.
effect. He could be on for a top 5 here just by virtue of having to take less energy. It's not about short pitting or pitting long or doing the undercut or the overcut for Billy Octane. It is literally about taking less fuel slash energy in the pit lane and not wasting those valuable seconds in the pits. He's done this before and got great results. He could be on for a top 5. That is a very significant gap for Billy Octane versus those he's racing against, like Van Drisha, Badowski, and Smits. Fabian Schmedberger and Ricky Berry, all of those drivers who know each other, by the way, who race together, I would call them friends.
And what car are
In
they in,
fact,
Jesse?
they're all in the Cadillacs.
Yeah, so the Cadillac is surprisingly, if you treat it right, very good on its virtual energy and saving, which is quite nice. The Peugeot can be, but obviously the two Peugeots that have been racing today, obviously one's not here anymore, have both been pushing, as you see. Badowski's on 11%, is the lowest actually in the hypercar class. But Richard Whittle in the Genesis and P13 was also roughly the same as the Cadillacs, but actually. Oh no, I thought that said 16. That is 18%. So yeah, he's not far off, but not doing the same as the Cadillacs today. Still going strong. P13 might be able to make up a place. We don't know. He is a lap down. That is from the leader, so we can ignore that. That he has not had a crash, fortunately. So, but yeah, it will soon be getting to that time where we have pit stops, and I'm just looking. What's happened here with Kevin Boss?
Oh,
That's
they're way off of the racetrack.
That's Mohammed in P5 in the Ferrari. Let's have a quick look at the replay, because I'll have a look from the Ferrari's point of view. It's going to be some contact in the break. Oh dear.
It is the Ferrari and Kevin Boss going off.
Let's have a look from
the
Boss's
lucky.
point of view, Jesse.
The lucky thing is, neither car makes it to the wall. Minor damage.
Kevin didn't
Kevin
expect
Boss
to
just
extend. Yeah.
He's what he expected was the Ferrari to turn in sooner than he did. Kevin Boss starts to turn in for the corner. The Ferrari's still there, and they both go off. Like I said, the silver lining, the only damage done was the touch. They're coming in anyway. I mean, they may lose time changing tires, but here it is again. Just he's like, it's like Kevin Boss does not expect the Ferrari to be there.
Yeah, as we can see here in the slow-mo, the Ferrari is pointing themselves a bit outwards from the track. It still looks parallel, but Kevin's a little bit inwards, ready for the corner, because of the GT3 doesn't have as much grip as a hypercar, and they just tangle. And like you say, luckily, they didn't make it
neither of those cars make it to the wall. Just excellent job wrangling those machines. That was a scary moment for Colombo, as you could see it. They were fighting that car. That immediately prompted a pit stop from the Ferrari driver. Colombo in and out.
Yeah, I don't think he took tires. Sorry, Jesse.
No, I was just going to say Kestamont also in, but no, I think you're right. I think the damage was done on the timing, the delta, rather than anything else.
Yeah, which is so nice about this game, because you can have contact like that. Yeah, you don't want it, and we don't really want to see it. It is entertaining, but we don't want to see it because it's not nice. But you can make contact like that, and you don't bounce off and end up in a wall. You have a nice slide, if you like, and that was a nice slide because you didn't find a wall. You damaged your tyres a bit, and I don't think Colombo took tyres, Jesse. I'm looking here, 21.2 seconds, 51.6.
Yeah.
I think that's the in to out. So in pit lane, box, and out again. So I don't know. It does say there's three yellow dots on the tyre section, but I don't believe that. If I'm honest.
Yeah, he wasn't sat there long enough to take tires, in my opinion. Could be wrong about that. I'm often wrong, as my wife likes to remind me, but I don't think he took tires. I also don't think it warranted that. It slid ever so slightly. He didn't really lock up, and he just sort of they sort of drove away from the scene. I think the damage was done on the Delta. Several cars though in the pit lane. By the way, Kestamont is out of the race. I did not see what happened to that Porsche. They were in pit lane. They drove to pit lane and then DNF'd, I'm pretty sure.
Here's a yellow flag, so I think they came back out. I know that
This is after the pit stop.
Oh, it is. Oh dear.
Well,
That
and they're going to attempt to drive that car back, is Kestamont, but the damage is going to be severe, hitting the corner of the tire pack.
That's the worst kind of crash. Oh, that is the worst, when you have a tire barrier that's just sticking out there when you don't need it to. Like hitting the wall's one thing, you could have slid along that. Now he is turning left. Yeah, that's not fun, and yeah, like you say, DNF.
Another retirement. 27 minutes, 45 seconds to go. Aston Pamber has done their pit stop. Martin Lawrence, Christoph Estapa have not. Clay continues to lead Gaicomi. That gap that was over 4 seconds is down to 2 seconds, 2.2, 2.3, depending on the corner. We'll see if Martin comes in this time.
Should do. He's just over 2%.
He's coming in.
I think it's 2.8% of virtual energy you need. I'm just completely winging that because I've not driven this GT3s here. But to me, it makes sense, and I think Verstappen should also be. Yeah, he is. There he is. The Mustangs are in, Jesse, and one more car to come in, which is the Lamborghini of Fayette's in 7th, and that's the whole of the GT3 field done, and it's just the time for the hypercar. So I think there are a few of them are going to be jumping in at the same time because they're quite close, apart from the Cadillacs.
Another huge time gain for Gaicomi, by the way. Just as I said that, Smits is in from P4 in the Toyota. Clay and Gaicomi go through. Zito Van Jerisha do not pit this time through. Neither does Billy Octane, who ends up going through. But Billy Octane was part of that triple threat of Cadillac drivers who had at least 5% more energy than anyone else did. So it's no surprise to see any of those Cadillacs continue on. This is the scariest part of the race if you're a hypercar driver, folks. It's going to take several laps, even if you didn't change tires. Because you came to pit lane, because you stopped, as Colombo is stopping. Colombo is stopping. Oh, what's happened here? Ricky Berry's off on the opposite side of the racetrack here.
So there is
what is going on?
There is a contact followed by 2 yellows. So Ricky Berry in front, Colombo doing his pit stop. Obviously Ricky hasn't because he's saved so much energy. Let's have a look and see. Oh no. Oh dear, Jesse.
Colombo slides through the corner as if on cue, illustrating my point about cold tires. Colombo slides through the corner and collects Ricky Berry.
His steering wheel
Ricky
is
Berry
straight. I want to see it from.
Well, Ricky Berry drove to the pit lane at least.
I want to see it from his onboard. Oh, this is the yellow flag. I want to see if what his steering's like. It looks fine. Oh, he pulls off over here. This is where we saw.
Yeah, he just pulls off.
Definitely
it's like he was. It's like he was adjusting something. He's in the bike lane. The MotoGP lane, I should say. Bike lane is I mean, it is green after all, but it's not that kind of bike lane.
That was
very close indeed in pit lane, but they just about had it. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, I think the only thing I can think of, Ted, is that Ricky Berry was configuring something in the pit stop. I think he's feeling out the car now again, because that was a sizable clunk into the left side of that Cadillac.
Yeah,
I think.
Go on.
I was just saying, I think he was configuring something on the pit stop that he didn't feel like he had enough time to drive over there, so he just drove off the racetrack to change something. He was fiddling with something inside that Cadillac and then decided, okay, now I'm going to come in and do the stop anyway because I've been clouded into. And if it wasn't that, your guess is as good as mine, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Oh, Colombo has DNF'd from the race after that, Jesse. Well, actually, he says he's DNF'd. Oh no, he has. It says he's in pit lane on my side, but actually, as it says on that tower, he has DNF'd.
Sure has. Becomes the second casualty in hypercar today. Does the Ferrari of Colombo. That will not help their championship hopes, and that will throw a bone to all those that are trying to catch Mohamed Colombo in the championship standings. I said at the top of the show, it was anybody's fight from fourth on back, but with Colombo DNFing here today, that is going to bring all of those players into the fight for third place in the championship. Clay in and out of the pit lane. Guy Comey continuing around. Billy Octane now the leader of the race, still yet to pit.
Yeah, he's doing great. Let's have a quick look at the energies again, because quite a few people have pitted. Fabian Schmidberg is in. Richard Whittle will be in as well. Everyone else has pitted apart from this man. Now he's on 2%, and he will make it to the pits. Let's have a little bit of an onboard, and I'll bring up the onboard overlay to see if he gets the speed right, or if he overshoots it, because he is going to be he's going to be close, but he'll have an virtual energy. He's got 1.6 at the moment, and we'll see where he comes out compared to the other drivers.
Here he comes, pit entry here. You can hit it kind of quick here at Algarve, as long as you're down to 60 kilometers right there, and he was. He's going to be just fine. Now, we believe that because they stayed later, Octane will need less energy. Well, we know that he'll need less energy to go the final 20 or so minutes of this race. The question is it enough to get him inside the top 5? Guy Comey is in front of Clay. So the Genesis back out front. Octane getting serviced.
Difference.
Very quick indeed. Yes, indeed. The car off the jack, and here we go. Out of pit lane. Vandrisha goes through for third. Octane to fourth. The battle for fifth here. Where is the Toyota? Here comes the Toyota. It won't be enough. Smits goes back through to get by Smits, but Octane is in fifth place for now. The only question is, where is the Peugeot? And it's nowhere, because remember, with Colombo DNFing, that battle for what we thought was going to be fifth would have actually been for fourth. But Badowski's not in it with the Cadillac. Octane did not, however, get by Smits, which would have been for fifth, but is now for fourth.
Sorry, Jesse. I've got some bad news for this driver here in the BMW. Clay has a penalty.
Pit lane.
I'm going to guess so, and yes, it is. So let's
looks normal here.
Keep an eye on his dash on his steering wheel. Now it might only show us the out, so, and it does, so it's definitely going to be on his way into pit lane as he comes in for his drive-through now. So yeah, he must have been speeding. He might have locked up, and that would have made him, not be able to reduce speed and carry that speed past the pit limiter line. So very unfortunate. Now he has lost second place to Zeno Van Driesch. I don't think he'll lose third. Oh, he might lose third to Dion Smits. Let's have a look.
He is gonna.
Yeah.
He is gonna.
Now where's Billy Octane in all this?
Billy Octane coming through. I don't think they'll get by.
Nah, 1.7 seconds the difference. So 20 minutes left. Well, 19 minutes left of the race, Jesse. Anything can happen. We've had a lot of different
Oh dear.
scenarios happen today. We had contact, spins, penalties. So just gonna have to get our eyes wide open and focus. But looking down in the LMGT field, we have a look at Martin Laurent. He is 16.5 seconds off at Anza Bamba, but 3.5 in front of Verstappen, who's closed the gap a little bit. And then it's 30 seconds back to Daniel Hearn, 6.2 back to Chris Nyrin, 7 seconds back to Van Parijs, and 55 back to Kevin Boss, Tucky 31, and Fritz 10. Now, I did see Kevin Boss on about the Lamborghinis, and we can see there all the Lamborghinis are very far behind. And he did say in our chat that the new bop to the Lambo cost me about 8 tenths compared to previously. So I think that was in qualifying. He gave us that message. So you can definitely see that the bop has not favoured them at one bit, as we have some yellow flags going off.
They've been like that for a long time. Sectors 2 and 3, I saw Hearn and Feritz both light up. Klaus Nyring lit up for a second. I don't know what's going on in sector 2 and 3. I don't know if that's a glitch on our board. But here's Hearn, who did light up the 92 Porsche, which is actually the 104 Porsche for whatever reason. Did light up as being off track in the second sector. Nothing unusual here.
It's nothing. It is a little glitch in the system, Jesse. We will ignore some of them yellow flags for the time being.
Well, I'm curious if that's just on our end or if everyone's seeing that as well and thinking that there's something going on in sectors 2 and 3. Threw us for a loop, but the track is clear. That's what I was looking out for. I was looking around and I couldn't see anything, and I was very, very confused. Normally in real life, that would mean that there's debris somewhere, but I mean, it does happen in LMU, but it doesn't really cause local yellows like that. But nevertheless, 16 minutes left to go in the race. Guy Colmy reassumes the lead after a frustrating and dramatic spin in the middle part of the race. The Genesis back out in front. Zeno Vandrisha now enjoys P2. Smits up to third. Clay down to fourth place. The question will be, can Clay get a podium out of this still? 2.3 seconds behind Smits. And he's trying. A 32.476, the quickest lap of the race from any driver in hypercar. Clay is trying to get that podium spot back to salvage the race today. Octane is up to fifth. Wasn't able to use the extra energy to do that, but by virtue of Colombo's retirement, does get fifth anyway. Just saw Klaus Nyring light up as a yellow flagged car.
It out, Jesse. It's that corner. It's yellow flagging a lot of people for some reason, and I'm not sure why. So
interesting.
We're seeing a lot of yellow flags come up, and it's again Ricky Barry. Oh no, okay.
Well, that one's legitimate, and Ricky Barry off into the gravel trap.
Is that the corner after? No, this is where we saw the spin earlier from the Porsche and
that is turn 10 and 11. That's Portimao.
Yeah.
Yep. That's in the Portimao corner. We've seen a couple of cars off there today. Ricky Barry goes off, but gets back on. The car behind him not for position.
Everyone has relaxed a bit. Billy Octane has dropped back 4 seconds to Clay, which, I mean, is expected. He is going a second quicker a lap. Clay is not really catching Smits, about 4 tenths the last lap, so you have to keep an eye on that. Whereas Smits now is getting held up by Ricky Barry. Ricky Barry needs to let him through, and blue flags isn't mean get out of my way as soon as possible, but I need to make a move on you. Just watch out. We see Van der Becken in front, but Ricky Barry is 2 laps behind that Aston Martin.
Just reading chat as we go through the final minutes of the race. Shout out to Alex, who's been with us all day, informing us about some of the ins and outs of LMU, and also letting their thoughts be known for the drama today indeed. Thomas Kalber joined us to say that steering changed its mind today, lost all force feedback, and it was disconnecting, lost about 20 seconds because of the steering, and lamented their frustration on the day. I dare say there's been a couple of mechanical issues today behind the wheel, and certainly frustrating for the driver who is in the fight for a top 5 today. 13 and a half minutes of the race. Guycomi, Vandrisha, Schmitz, Clay, Octane, the top 5 in Hypercar. Azenpamber, Lawrence, Verstappen, Hearn, Nyring, the top 5 in LMGT3. Richard Whittle has gone off as well. That also up in Portimao, I'm pretty sure.
I think that was before Mount J6, if I'm right.
Oh, it is.
Now. Yeah, so
now we're coming up to Portimao. That was.
It is such a tricky track. Like, I cannot express it enough that it doesn't matter what car you're in. It's not easy. It's not a track where you can just switch off like, let's say, Le Mans, which was obviously on this weekend in real life. And they've got some 2.4-hour team races going on this weekend. You can just switch off there. You're just like you're like drowsy at the wheel. It's like you know, it's simple. But here it is. You are having a lot of sugary energy drinks before you get in the car, and you're hoping that you can stay awake long enough and not tire yourself out, because it is a workout on your brain to keep concentrating. But these two. The gap is closing on Dion Smits. This BMW is going as fast as they can. Again, a second quicker last lap. 34.2 for Smits and a 33.2 for Clive. So he's on the hunt, Jesse, with 12 minutes left to go.
Yeah, Clay probably reckons they should have won this race here today, or at least had a shot to contest it, driving like a driver possessed, as we ride on board the back of the Toyota, looking back at Clay's BMW. That's all that's in it. It was 2.2 seconds. It's down to 1 second here with 11 and a half to go here in Portimao. Before we close up shop today, just want to give thanks to our partners, as we always do here at RCI TV. Shout out to Green Man Gaming. Follow the link in the description. Get yourself a deal on a game today. Moza Racing, the authority in direct drive hardware. More and more people joining the Moza ecosystem. I've honestly never heard anyone complain about any product from the Moza Racing lineup, and if we recommend it, you can guarantee that it is fantastic direct drive sim racing hardware. A lot of us here at RCI, in fact, use the Moza systems. And while you're there, maybe you're looking for a little extra grip around Portimao in 29 degrees C temperatures. Coach Dave Delta has you covered. Get you a Coach Dave setup for here at Portimao in whatever class you hope to be running here or at any track in LMU. And a special shout out to Motorsports UK for recommending us as an esports community. Alex in chat says, and I found this quite interesting, we've learned one thing today, and that you can easily mess up on the tarmac of Portimao. You know what? Get him in the commentary box. I couldn't have said that better myself. It absolutely is the truth. You said it, Alex, and we all agree with you.
Ooh.
Clay has caught Smits here. This is it. This is the battle for third place in the dying embers, but it may be all over for Smits.
He's just got a penalty for that going over the white line on that curb. He's just got another drive-through penalty.
Well, I understand. Here, chat, hear me out. I know he's got a penalty, but we want to see the fight anyway, right?
Well, the thing is, will he go aggressive now? That's the thing. I hope he does, but I hope there's no contact. As you know, we don't want that to happen with a car that does have another drive-through penalty, one for speeding into pit lane and now one for track limits. I saw them go over the edge of the track, and I thought, oh no, they've just reset. But no, it wasn't a track limits penalty. The first
Here he
one,
goes.
I think Smith's just let him have that, knowing that he has a penalty. There's no point fighting, and it ended up in a spin.
It's the smart thing to do. It's the sensible thing to do. It's the respectful thing to do. Plaudits to Smith for making that as painless as possible. Clay back up to third. I'm just glad we got a little closure and we saw the pass, regardless if it was given or not. The fact that it happened on track gives me a little bit of closure. I'll be able to sleep tonight because we actually got to see the fight a little bit. Clay will go through to third. Smiths will come to pit lane at some point. Oh, Clay's coming in. Clay's got a penalty.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought it was Smiths.
No, it was Clay. Clay was the one on the exit.
I would have sworn
out of the final corner.
that the penalty. I would have sworn that the penalty thing was on Smiths there, to begin with.
It was on Mr. Clay. We can have a quick look at the replay briefly while we have a few minutes of peace and quiet. We should go to the cockpit cameras we can see. And you see here, super wide, gets on the throttle, pushes him, and over the white line he goes, and that's when he got this penalty.
Well, while I figure out what the graphics mean, yeah, Clay with the penalty, and that just erases everything. That erases everything I said. I thought it was on Smiths, and that makes it even more depressing if you are Jontep Clay.
That does move Billy Octane and Marco Badowski up to 4th and 5th. 5 seconds behind is Clay. I don't think he'll be able to get that back unless he does a second quicker, even a second quicker lap. I don't think he'll make it because it's 1.5, basically 1.5 minutes a lap. So that would be 4 laps they've got left. He's 5 seconds off. He needs to do more than a second quicker lap to catch the 2 drivers in front. Oh, he won't catch Clay. He needs to catch Badowski.
You know, and we saw Clay pushing so hard, resetting quick lap and being the quickest car on the racetrack lap after lap. And didn't even occur to me that they were pushing it a little too far, but that is the risk you run. Clay, with the track limits penalty, takes them out of the top 5. I don't think there's enough time for them to get to Marco. But what that does do is promote Billy Octane up to 4th place, Badowski into 5th. Billy Octane continuing to be calm, cool, collected, steady. Everything you would expect out of the Estonian driver. They've been that today. Marco Badowski in the Peugeot has had a quiet day and looking like they're going to get rewarded with a top 5 as well. If you're Clay, Ted, what could you possibly say to a driver that's been through it like they have today? I mean, ran second for the entire opening 30 minutes of the race. Opportunity afforded him when Gaikomi spun, took the lead of the race, lost it on the pit cycle, was clawing their way back, got into trouble, tried to recover for a podium, got in trouble again. And now a day that looked like it could have ended in victory doesn't look like it's going to result in even a top 5. What do you say to a driver who's been through that?
It's not really much you can say because it's not like it wasn't their fault. They're the one in control of the vehicle. They're the one pushing the car to its limit, and they're the ones going over the track limit. So it's one of those things where you might just need to tell them, like, just calm down. You were catching the guy in front anyway, and you had loads of time left. You could easily gone for a battle, and and then you work it out in the fight. But it's not really much you can say. I've done the same thing where I've been pushing the car, getting all the track limits and getting a penalty, and it's like you can't say anything to me that's gonna make me realise, oh, I shouldn't have done that because it's already happened. So it's very difficult when it comes to that. But he does go faster, Jesse.
Well, he's got nothing to lose now, Ted. I mean, you're outside the top 5. There's nothing left to lose, and leaving it all out there on the racetrack right now is Jontep Clay in the BMW. Want to make sure that they get something out of today, even if that's just the bragging rights of the quickest lap. 4.5 minutes left to go. Gaikomi leads Van Driesche, Smits, Octane, Badowski now your top 5. No real change at LMGT3, still Azampamber. I mean, we've completely not talked about Rune Azampamber this entire second half of the race. Enjoys a 13-second lead over Martin Lawrence, Christopher Stuypa, 10 seconds in the rears. Hearn, fourth, Van Parijs in fifth. Nyring Boss, Tucky Ferretz, the 9 cars still on the track. We have lost Kestemont, Plata, and Dauber out of the LMGT3 field. We've lost 2 hypercars, including Colombo's Ferrari most recently. Attrition was down today. There were no fewer incidents. It's just that the incidents we had today resulted in less damage, it seemed like, on the most part, outside of the couple of hard crashes that we did see.
Yeah, it's just difficult, and this is why I don't like this track, Jesse. I wouldn't, maybe in endurance because you're a bit more chill and relaxed, like an hour and 20-minute race where it's just you. There's no drivers that need to get in the car. You're just trying to go full beans, and we've seen quite a bit of that today. And even when they're not trying to go as fast as they can, small mistakes will just lead to a big crash, and it just takes one little mistake, as we've seen from the Porsche earlier on of Kestemont, where you slip, you half spin, you're going towards a barrier, but then there's a tyre wall that is facing you, and it stops you dead in your tracks, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's just it is a difficult track.
Sure is. Fabian Schmedberger was dead last, 16th at the end of lap number 1 in the hypercar class. They will be rewarded for their patience and speed today with a top 10. That Cadillac in 9th place, and they've had to drive around all of those cars: Wilkinson, Velkin, De Gore, Whittle, and Barry, to get to that point as well. So well earned for the German. Kerrigan 1 spot better in 8th. Still holding out to an outside hope that they can get by Vulture Rybecki, and what a shot that would be for Callum Kerrigan to get by Vulture Rybecki, a driver who has been dominant at times in other sims. It would still be huge for Callum.
Jesse, I said that Clay needs to go really quick, over a second faster a lap to catch Badowski. He's half a second behind him with another lap to go.
Yeah. Well, add it to the pile of commentators spoke
traffic
too soon. This is going to be really dicey indeed. This is the fight for P5.
That's Azampamber,
leader. That's Azampamber, the leader in the Lexus. Sketchy moment there as Clay and Badowski fight for it. This is for a spot in the top 5. Badowski would like the top 5, but Clay driving like a man possessed. It's going to be contact here in the hairpin. A sketchy moment, and it looks like Clay's going to make their way through. Lights flashing from Badowski, not appreciating the way that position changed hands.
Yeah, Badowski's not happy, and I mean, I don't blame him. Like that, the send was fine, but then he's still flashing, getting on the brakes and having contact like that. There's no need. He went too deep, too quick. I mean, you were catching Badowski so quickly, you didn't need to do anything silly like that. So, but yeah, Richard Whittle having a little bit of a spin.
Richard Whittle.
Yeah, there he is.
Off in the first sector, and he is way off of the racetrack. It's been a quiet day, more or less, for Richard Whittle. They were off earlier once, but other than that, they've been okay. But just an off there in, I believe that was Lagos they went off in, looked like.
That was their second time there, as we see Gaikomi on the last lap coming through Sector 2's timing into Sector 3. And this man has a 26-second lead over second place, Jesse.
What can you say about Gaikomi? Took pole position at the very end of qualifying. Never drove away from Clay the entire first half of the race. Ended up spinning under pressure coming out of Portimao. Got the lead back after the pit stop and never looked back. Gaikomi never let die and wins here at Algarve. Another impressive victory, and Gaikomi is going to celebrate by going to the infield care center.
Christoph Scherfman, he passed before the line, so Christoph gets third place in LMGT3 as we see here. Van Driesch coming up to the line now at the final corner, followed by Smits. I don't know if that's Smits in the background, we'll find out in just a second. And Driesch takes second place after all of that. And let's see where Smits is. There he is, and third place for Smits. Very well done in the Toyota. No spins today. He's been doing very good with this new model, even though it's not a different car.
Yeah, it's good for Smits. They had to withstand several different attacks from different drivers today, and you don't get podiums by accident, folks. He had to earn that one both with patience and also patience and diligence. But Rune Azenpamber, just another dominating display. We're not going to hand him the trophy just yet, but my goodness, Rune Azenpamber continues to dominate in that Lexus. It's going to be another impressive win for Azenpamber in LMGT3.
Sure is. There was a fight for Kerrigan and Rybecki backwards and forwards over the start-finish line. I will show that replay in just a second as Martin Loenk takes second place in the Mustang. Only, I think, 10 seconds back, so very well done. Right, what we're going to do, Jesse, we're going to do very quickly show the results before they run away from us, because they do like to do that.
I got you. Sometimes the results graphics, because of the session timers, it's a lot of background nonsense, but here it is. The results from today's race, barring any post-race penalties: 51 laps completed for Eduardo Di Giacomi, who wins it in what was a drama-filled race indeed. Zeno Van Driesch second, Dion Smits, a well-deserved podium for all three of those drivers today. Billy Octane, Juntin Clay in fifth, Marco Badowski, Callum Kerrigan, Vulture Rybecki, Fabian Schmedberger, Reese Wilkinson, your top 10. Juntin Clay, your quickest driver in hypercar here at Algarve. Outside of the top 10, Van der Voken, De Gore, Withel, Barry, your finishers, Colombo, Kauber, and Malcolm DNF'd. Triciani, I'm pretty sure, did not show, probably maybe Malcolm as well. But moving on to LMGT3, Rune Azenpamber dominated today, 3 seconds gap in a win over Martin Lawrence. Christoph Estrepa rounds out your podium. 2 Fords and a Lexus there. Daniel Hearn, then Paris round out your top 5. Klaus Nyring, Kevin Boss, Jacob Tuckey, and Faertz, the 9 LMGT3s that finished behind them. Kestamont and a few others, including Joe Dauber, DNF'd today, the highest attrition of the two classes. Now, what I think we're going to do is we're going to show you the final lap battle between Vulture Rybecki and Callum Kerrigan. This is for 7th place.
Yeah, it was a massive fight. They see Azenpamber there, so that's who we were watching coming through this corner for the last lap. Obviously, we like to show the winner of each class, but these guys were fighting. It was very, very close indeed. And this is one of the replays. I'll show you the next one now. As they kept switching places, they were so close to each other. It's the same replay, but they were neck and neck over the line as well, Jesse. So these Porsches very racy against each other today, which is what we like to see when
look at this. They're still doing it. Kerrigan in the pink car, Rybecki in the blue and white car. They've swapped the lead 2 or 3 times this lap alone. The inside belongs to Rybecki here, but the outside gets the run. Callum Kerrigan's Porsche is going to go the long way around and get 7th place on the last lap. Vulture Rybecki in 8th. Wow. What a finish it was for those hypercars in today's race at Algarve. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and bring in Zeno Van Driesch. Zeno, what a day. Talk us through it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, starting P7, a bit farther back than I would have liked. You know, Portimao isn't easy to overtake. And then I was just following. And then, yeah, I decided to not change tires to hold up Colombo so Dion could overtake him. But then Colombo, of course, had a crash or something. I don't know what happened. And then I just decided to follow my strategy, and it paid off today. So I'm really happy with how it went. Finally a podium.
Finally, a podium indeed. Everybody else seemed to really just be having major problems today. I mean, you were ducking and diving with the best of them out there. I mean, what is it about Algarve that just a race just never goes to plan around this place?
It's just a difficult track to. I mean, in qualifying, to get a perfect lap, you just have to be lucky. Like the brakes lock up easily, traffic is difficult, and of course, like I said, overtaking is not possible. So, of course, that invites chaos for a race.
It certainly did. I mean, this has got to build confidence. Everybody else seemed to struggle. You made it look a bit more academic than some of the other competitors. This give you confidence for the rest of the season to go through and stack up more podiums?
Well, next one is Silverstone, so I don't know. It's not my best track, but this definitely is a confidence boost after two, yeah, how do you say it? DNFs that weren't my fault. But yeah, this definitely helps with the confidence.
Zeno, anybody you want to shout out, say thank you to out there? Team, family, friends?
Yeah, everyone from Flanders Esport and of course everyone from RCI for keeping this running. Like without you guys, this wasn't possible. Yeah, so thank you to all of you and my team.
There you have it. Zeno Van Driesch out here getting it done and a deserved finish for them. From Zeno down to Van Paris. You with us?
Yes, I am.
I think first and foremost, what a chaotic race for everyone in the hypercar class. What was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, chaotic for sure. I also, due to a glitch in the formation lap, I got a 10-second penalty. That wasn't really my fault. There's nothing I could do about it. I thought that it would absolutely ruin my race, but then some other people had some contacts, had some spins, and it turned out pretty fine because I could stay consistent. But yeah, chaotic one for sure. But I enjoyed.
Do you? We talked about this a bit on the broadcast, but Algarve is kind of a divisive racetrack. After racing it for 80 minutes here today, what are your thoughts on this particular track?
I like it, to be honest. I think it's a fun track. It's very technical. Also with the multi-class racing, hypercars, it must be very difficult for them to overtake us, to GT3s. But also for us to manage where we can let them through. Yeah, I really enjoyed this race and the track as well. It's also one of my better tracks, I think. So yeah, it was a good one.
What are your thoughts on Rune Pamber? I mean, obviously they've just done an almost immaculate job this season. I mean, what's it like to compete against somebody like that week in and week out? Are you trying to learn something, or is there anything you can glean from them considering they're in a different car?
Yeah, well, no, of course he's. I think at this point we can pretty much call him the goat of GT3s. He's crazy fast, and of course I really look up to him and try to learn from him. Before every race, we talk about the strategy and I try to see what he does. Well, to see if I can do it too. But yeah, of course his pace is just it's out of my league. I know that I'm not at that level yet. It's also a good boost to keep on pushing, keep on improving. And yeah, so I really look up to him. He's also just a super nice guy. So yeah, absolute legend. And congrats to
You're
him on winning the title as well.
Indeed, indeed. You're in a huge fight, Jens, for P2 in this championship. It's like a five-way fight. Today did absolutely nothing to decide that point between the three or four of you that are fighting for P2. What's that like? Where's your head at going into these next couple of races, knowing that it's all to play for P2 and anybody could end up being the one on top? How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, well, very excited, of course. I think that today was a very good day for me, given that some people DNF'd and of course I managed to get ahead of Nyring. So I think that today was a pretty good day for me with the points. But Yeah, Silverstone next week. It's a track that I haven't driven yet, so I really need to get the practice in. But that's a bit difficult because I'm in the middle of my exams right now, so I don't really have that much time to practice. So yeah, I'll see if I can get some time and how my pace is. But I'll give it everything, that's for sure.
I don't doubt that. Exams are more important. I just will tell you that. You don't need me to tell you that, but I will tell you that exams are more important. And good luck on those as well. Good luck in the title fight. Yanis Van Parijs in the fight for P2 looked good out there today as well. Thanks for coming and talking to us. And finally, is there anybody you want to talk, or do you want anybody you want to shout out or give thanks to out there?
Yeah, well, of course, like every race, the team are just absolute legends. It's always so nice with them, and of course, the guy here now with us, Rune. It's insane, man. Yeah, absolute GGs.
There you go. Van Parijs looking to take home P2 in the championship. A few rounds left to go. Now down to Rune Pamber, who has dominated this championship in the Lexus. Rune, I've had a rethink on the championship. I think next season we're going to have the Pamber category, and then we'll have the pro category, and then we'll have Pro-Am. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. The competition is definitely very strong with Loreg and Verstrepen, who constantly challenge me, so it's very nice.
What's it like, though? Because you know now that Martin Lawrence, in particular, is never going to give up. He's always going to be there, and he always seems to follow you to the finish line. You must know that, well, I can't make a single mistake. And to your credit, you don't. But what's that like driving under pressure for 80 minutes every week?
Yeah, at every start of the race, I think that I'm gonna have a decent gap, but in the end, he always stays quite close and puts the pressure on. So it's important not to make mistakes, and yeah, it's very fun to still have quite a bit of pressure, and also with the strategy to not make any mistakes there, to really still have a gap on him. It's very tricky to keep focused.
What is the difference, Rune? Because we see you come out here week in and week out. You put in the quick laps in qualifying. You put in the quick laps in the race. You always seem to eventually pull away, and you make it look academic. We know racing isn't that easy, but for you right now, it is. What is the difference? What do you have that nobody else in LMGT3 has right now?
I think all of the drivers are quite quick, but I think the main difference between us is maybe the consistency. I try to, in practice, set as much as the same laps as possible, and try to be within 1/10 every single lap. So when you see at the end of the race, I always try and make the gap a little bit bigger, because I'm able to keep up with my own consistency, and that's, I think, the biggest difference between us.
We love to see it. I mean, it's very rare when a driver like you comes along and is able to accomplish what you have accomplished. It's always, we were sort of awestruck in the booth, because I think maybe Ted, we've been here almost the entire time here at RCI. We've only seen it 2 or 3 times. So you should be very proud of what you have accomplished. We're still not giving you the trophy until the end of the season, but it has been immaculate from you thus far. It's been an absolute treat to watch. One final question. The mixed class racing, you out there, you're contending with hypercars. You're having to sort of manage gaps and everything, and also, sort of afford space. What's it like sharing the track with the hypercars every week on a different track, and how do you manage that personally?
Yeah, it's very entertaining to have a multi-class series, because it's not all about pace. It's also to kind of time a bit where the hypercars are going to pass, and how to not lose more time than your opponents. So that makes it very interesting, and also more interesting for driver mistakes because of pressure of hypercars that are approaching you at high speed. So it's very interesting.
And finally, who would you like to shout out? Maybe team, family, loved ones?
I think the whole Flanders Esports crew, with Zeno, who brought me into this championship, which I really like that he put me onto this, because I enjoy it very very much every Friday night. So actually, shout out to everyone in Flanders Esports.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ruud Azenpamber dominant here at LMGT3 again. It's just it's a marvel to watch, quite frankly. Continuing, good luck for the rest of the season. We'll see if you can
Thank you.
continue up this impressive pace.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, Ted, it's been a fun day here at Algarve, and it was a warm one out there, and there was a lot of drama on the racetrack. And in the end, it still came down to a couple of last lap passes for final positions. Rune continues their dominance. Gaikomi does exactly what you would expect them to do in the hypercar class, but behind both of those two drivers in those classes, it is everything to play for coming down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, sure is. And just reading what Ricky Barry just said in a chat, I can see as well. That was eventful. Yeah, that race was very eventful for a lot of drivers. It's not easy. It looks pretty simple. You know, we've seen Formula One cars race around here. We've seen all sorts race around here, but it's not easy. And when you get in the sim, if you get into LMU or really any sim, you can feel that the track doesn't really have much grip compared to a lot of the ones that you would normally drive. And yeah, it is a tricky beast to rein in. But Jesse, I've just looked at next week. For the final round, round 6, Silverstone. Now, I can see already what the weather is. Do you want to have a guess what the weather is
Well,
going
it's
to be next week?
well, it's Britain, it's North Hampshire, so I'm going to assume a bit dreary.
Um, yeah, it looks like the forecast is going to be a bit wet, so it's going to be a very eventful final race of this season, and it's been a really good season. There's loads of fights up and down the field. It's not just top 5 having a fight, it's back end of the packs, and it's been for somewhat pretty clean racing. There's always going to be a bit of bumps and scrapes, but with this sim we have here, and no netcode realistically, um, it's been so nice to watch. You can go door to door through a corner, and you can survive to an extent. Um, but yeah, it's such a good sim to watch.
Well, folks, that's going to just about do it for us here on RCI TV today. A simple reminder that there is an LMP2 Sprint Series that will be running on Thursday. Race number 1 is on June 25th. Still a couple of open spots in that it's LMP2 only. It's 60-minute races, and you can join over at SimGrid. Follow the link in the description to sign up for that. And also, you can sign up for Mini British GT. That championship in full swing will be live on Monday from Barcelona. And we'll be right back here, Ted, me, and probably Jack Mays on Friday for the continuation of the multi sprint series live from what we believe to be a soggy Silverstone. On behalf of everyone here at RCI, I've been Jesse Lee, joined by Ted Edwards, pulling double duty today. Thank you all very much for your likes, your subscribes, your comments, your follows, and your chat messages. Thank you all for being with us. We hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast. And until next time, have a good night.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow. Go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. quick kiss us goodbye. Don't slow down.